Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins History, coin collectors, history buffs, and treasure seekers. Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic coins in American history, the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a mint mark. This tiny copper coin may look like just another piece of pocket change, but what if we told you that one of these little pennies could be hiding a secret so valuable, it could change your life? Stick with us, because this isn't just a story about a coin. It's a story about America, rare discoveries, and how something as small as a penny can carry the weight of history, and sometimes, the weight of a small fortune. Let's begin by rewinding the clock to 1957. America was in the midst of post-war prosperity. Dwight D. Eisenhower was president, Elvis Presley was topping the music charts, and the average American household was embracing a future filled with optimism. Amidst all of this, the U.S. Mint was quietly producing millions of 1-cent coins, pennies that would end up in vending machines, lunchboxes, and between couch cushions. But not all of these pennies were created equal. The 1957 wheat penny was the second to last year that featured the iconic wheat ears on the reverse side, two graceful stalks curving along the edges, surrounding the bold words, 1 cent, and United States of America. This design, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. It was a revolutionary moment in coin design, and it remained largely unchanged for decades. On the front, of course, is the instantly recognizable portrait of Abraham Lincoln. The designer, Victor David Brenner, created a dignified image that continues to be admired today. But in 1957, something special was happening at the Mint, especially at the Denver Mint. You see, some of the 1957 wheat pennies bear a small letter D just below the date. This tiny mint mark indicates that the coin was minted in Denver. While both Philadelphia and Denver produced Lincoln cents that year, the Denver minted ones have gained a special level of attention from collectors. Why? Because among them, there are some rarities. And one of them, an almost mythical version, is what we're really talking about today. The magic of coin collecting lies in the details. Most 1957 D pennies are worth only a few cents in circulated condition. But certain examples, under the right conditions, can command breathtaking prices. What sets these rare coins apart? It could be a minting error, like a double die. It could be an unusual strike, a misalignment, or even a planchet flaw. And of course, the coin's condition plays a major role. The most valuable Lincoln Wheat pennies are those in pristine, uncirculated condition, coins that somehow escape the rough and tumble world of cash registers and piggy banks. Collectors look for coins with a strong, sharp strike, no scratches, and their original luster fully intact. When a coin is this well preserved, it may qualify for a top grade from professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. And that's when things get really interesting. Some lucky individuals have found rare variants or exceptionally well-preserved specimens of the 1957 D wheat penny and have taken them to auction. There, under the bright lights and the gaze of serious numismatists, bids climb higher and higher as collectors compete for ownership of these copper masterpieces. And yes, there is one particular example of the 1957 D Lincoln Wheat Penny, in stunning condition, that shattered expectations when it was sold. A coin so flawless, so rare in its quality, that it fetched an astonishing $113,000. That's right, $113,000. For a penny. So, the next time you're sifting through your coin jar, flipping through pocket change, or sorting an old collection passed down through your family, take a close look. That worn little copper coin might be more than just a piece of history, it might be your ticket to an unforgettable discovery. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a mint mark. This coin may be tiny in size, but it's rich in history, steeped in wartime legacy, and believe it or not, it could be worth a small fortune. So make yourself comfortable and get ready, because what you learn today might just change the way you see your spare change forever. Let's begin our story in the year 1944. The world was at war. The United States was deeply involved in World War II, and everything, from the factories to the families, was focused on supporting the troops. Even the U.S. Mint got involved. In fact, just a year earlier, in 1943, something remarkable happened. Pennies were no longer made from copper. That's right. In 1943, due to a critical shortage of copper needed for ammunition and military equipment, the U.S. Mint produced pennies made from steel coated with zinc. These are the famous steel cents, silvery, magnetic, and totally different from the usual copper coins Americans were used to. But these steel pennies rusted easily and were often mistaken for dimes, which created confusion. So by 1944, the mint returned to using copper, and that's where our story truly begins. The 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny was the first year after the experiment with steel cents. These coins were struck using recycled ammunition shell casings gathered from military training grounds and battlefields. So when you hold a 1944 penny in your hand, you're literally holding a piece of World War II history. How incredible is that? On the front of the coin is the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, stoic and enduring, just as he had been since 1909 when the design was first introduced to honor the centennial of his birth. Lincoln was the first real person to appear on a U.S. coin, and his image was chosen to symbolize honesty, integrity, and leadership, values Americans held dear, especially during times of war. Turn the coin over, and you'll see the classic wheat ears framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. These wheat stalks gave the coin its nickname, the Wheat Penny. Beneath that rustic design lies more than just art. It's a tribute to American agriculture, strength, and the resilience of the people during one of the most trying times in modern history. Now, let's talk about mint marks. In 1944, Lincoln Wheat Pennies were struck at 3 mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, with a D mint mark; and San Francisco, with an S. These small letters beneath the date tell you where the coin was made. And while all 1944 pennies are special because of their wartime legacy, those with mint marks, especially in exceptional condition, can be of real interest to collectors. Most of these coins were heavily circulated. They were used to buy candy bars, newspapers, and war bonds. They passed through millions of hands, rode in the pockets of soldiers, and helped build post-war America. But very few survived the decades without getting scratched, worn, or tarnished. That's where things get interesting. A 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a mint mark that has been preserved in flawless, uncirculated condition, bright, sharp, and lustrous, can command serious attention from collectors. Coins that show no signs of wear, have original red coloration, and are graded highly by services like PCGS or NGC, are extremely rare. But it gets even more exciting. Some extremely rare versions of the 1944 penny were accidentally struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943, making them wild errors. Others may have slight die variations or minting anomalies, like doubling of the date or imperfections in the design. These types of coins are the dream finds, tiny mistakes that turn a common coin into a numismatic treasure. And here's the part you've been waiting for. One particular 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a mint mark, in absolutely pristine condition, verified and authenticated by experts, didn't just go for a few $100s. It didn't stop at a few thousand either. It sold at auction for an astonishing $134,000. That's right. 1 penny. $134,000. So the next time you go digging through a coin jar, empty your pockets at the end of the day, or sort through an inherited coin collection, keep your eyes open. That little copper coin with a mint mark from 1944 might be more than just a relic of the past. It might be your once-in-a-lifetime find. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of a small piece of American change that carries with it more than just monetary value. We're talking about the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a mint mark, a coin that might be sitting unnoticed in a drawer, a jar, or a box of old memories, quietly holding a secret that could blow your mind. Now, let's set the stage. The year is 1953. Dwight D. Eisenhower is in the White House, the Korean War is still ongoing, television is rapidly changing entertainment, and America is embracing a post-war boom. Amidst all of this, the U.S. Mint is hard at work, producing coins that will circulate through hands across the country, from bustling cities to rural farms. And among the millions of coins produced that year, one humble cent stands out, the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny, like many before it, features the iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln on the front. This design, created by Victor David Brenner, was first introduced in 1909 and quickly became a national symbol of honor and integrity. There's something timeless about that portrait, simple, strong, and quietly powerful, just like the man it represents. Flip the coin over, and you'll see two wheat stalks curving along the edges, framing the words, 1 cent and United States of America. These wheat ears are more than just decoration. They symbolize growth, prosperity, and America's agricultural roots. This classic design remained on the penny until 1958, making every wheat penny a miniature time capsule from a bygone era. But what makes the 1953 version with a mint mark so interesting? To answer that, we need to take a closer look. During that year, the Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Denver bear a small D under the date, while those from San Francisco feature an S. The mint mark may be tiny, but it tells a big story. Depending on where the coin was made, and how it was struck, it could have hidden features that collectors go absolutely crazy for. You see, while millions of 1953 pennies were minted and used in everyday life, most of them show heavy signs of circulation. They were passed from person to person, dropped in vending machines, tucked into kids' piggy banks, and carried around in wallets for decades. Because of this, most surviving 1953 wheat pennies are scratched, dull, or worn down. They're common, but only in average condition. Now, here's where it gets exciting: coins that have never been in circulation, those that were somehow preserved in near-perfect condition, are a whole different story. Known as uncirculated or mint state coins, they retain their original luster, fine details, and sharp features. The color can even be a factor. Those with original red tones are especially prized. A 1953 penny with a mint mark in such flawless condition is already rare, but add in the possibility of an unusual strike or a minting error, and now you've got something truly exceptional. Sometimes, a minor variation in the die, a doubling of the numbers, or even the wrong metal planchet can create a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. These rare traits are what turn a simple coin into a legendary find. Error coins are the holy grail for collectors, and many of them were completely unintentional, created in moments when machinery hiccuped or alignment slipped. And then there's the grading. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC examine coins under magnification, rating their quality on a scale of 1 to 70. The higher the grade, the higher the value. A 1953 wheat penny from the Denver or San Francisco mint with a near-perfect grade is a dream for any serious numismatist. Combine that with a rare error or perfect red luster, and you're looking at a coin that stands alone. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. One such coin, a 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a mint mark, in immaculate condition, shining with its original red glow and carrying the uniqueness of a rare minting, was sold for an absolutely astonishing $122,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny. $122,000. The next time you're going through your old change, or helping a parent clean out a drawer filled with forgotten coins, don't overlook the pennies. That small copper coin, marked with history and barely the size of your thumbnail, could be worth more than most cars, college tuitions, or even a house down payment. Today, we're taking a journey back to the middle of the 20th century, to explore a tiny copper coin that many people overlook every single day, the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a mint mark. At first glance, it might seem like just another old penny. You've probably seen dozens like it, maybe even have a few tucked away in a jar somewhere. But this particular coin holds more than just sentimental value. In the right condition, and with just the right characteristics, it could be worth far more than most would ever imagine. Let's rewind time to the year 1950. America was coming out of a post-war era. Soldiers had returned home, families were growing, and the country was booming. Television was becoming a fixture in American homes, the Cold War was heating up, and the economy was on the rise. In the middle of all that progress, the United States Mint was producing millions of coins that would pass through the hands of bakers, factory workers, teachers, students, and veterans, helping to shape the everyday lives of Americans. among those coins was the unassuming 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny. The front of the coin, known as the obverse, features the profile of Abraham Lincoln. Sculpted by Victor David Brenner, this portrait had already become iconic by 1950. It wasn't just a depiction of a president, it was a tribute to leadership, unity, and the American spirit. It's the first U.S. coin to honor a real person, and over the years, it has earned its place as one of the most recognized coin designs in the world. On the back, the reverse design shows two stalks of wheat curving inward along the sides of the coin, one on the left, one on the right. In between them are the bold words, 1 cent and United States of America. That classic wheat penny design lasted from 1909 to 1958, making every single one of those coins a small piece of American history. Now let's talk mint marks. In 1950, the Lincoln Wheat Penny was struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from the Philadelphia mint do not carry a mint mark, but those from Denver have a small D under the date, and those from San Francisco have an S. These mint marks may seem insignificant, but for coin collectors, they tell a deeper story: where the coin came from, how many were made, and in some cases, how rare they might be today. The vast majority of these 1950 pennies were used in everyday transactions. Most were tossed in pockets, dropped into piggy banks, rubbed smooth by decades of use. As a result, most of the ones you see today are well-worn, dull, or scratched. They hold history, but not necessarily value. But here's where things get exciting: a very small number of 1950 wheat pennies, especially those with a D or S mint mark, were preserved in near-perfect condition. These are the coins that somehow avoided circulation. They were stored in rolls, collections, or forgotten drawers, never touched or tarnished by time. When they resurface, especially with their original red luster intact, collectors take notice. Then, there are the rarities. Some 1950 wheat pennies were struck with slight errors, double die obverse, off-center strikes, or other minting anomalies that were never meant to leave the mint. These so-called error coins are especially valuable, because no two are exactly the same. They're like fingerprints from the mint, unique, traceable, and often highly sought after. To know what a coin is truly worth, experts turn to grading. Professional services like PCGS and NGC carefully examine coins under magnification and assign a grade on a 70-point scale. A perfect coin would be MS 70, mint state, flawless in every way. Coins that score in the high 60s with original red color and no visible damage are considered premium grade. These are the coins collectors will go to great lengths to acquire, and in some rare cases, the result is absolutely jaw-dropping. There was one particular 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny, struck with a mint mark and preserved in extraordinary condition, so pristine, so well-struck, so rare in its quality, that when it hit the auction block, it stunned the numismatic community. It sold for a staggering $124,500, yes, you heard that right. One copper penny, made in 1950, traded hands for the kind of money most people spend on a luxury car or a down payment on a house. So, the next time you come across an old penny, don't toss it aside. Look at the date. Look for the mint mark. Check the condition. You never know, you might just be holding a piece of the past that's worth more than you ever imagined. Today, we're taking a journey into the heart of wartime America, through a small, copper coin that might be hiding in plain sight. It's a coin that many people don't think twice about. In fact, you may have one sitting in a box of old change, right now, without realizing just how valuable it might be. We're talking about the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a mint mark. Now, at first glance, it might seem like any other penny. It's old, sure, but not ancient. It's familiar. It looks like the coins we all grew up seeing, maybe even using as kids. But what if I told you that this specific coin, under the right conditions, could be worth an amount that would make anyone do a double take? To really understand why this coin is so special, we need to step back in time. It's 1945. The Second World War is coming to an end. American soldiers are fighting across Europe and the Pacific. The country is united in sacrifice and strength. War bonds, rations, victory gardens, every American is contributing to the cause. The nation is on the brink of a major transformation, and every corner of society feels it. Even the coins in your pocket. The U.S. Mint, like every other part of the government, had to make adjustments to support the war effort. Just 2 years earlier, in 1943, pennies had been made out of steel instead of copper, because copper was needed for ammunition and electronics used in warfare. But by 1945, copper was back in use, and the Lincoln Wheat Penny was again being struck in its traditional form. But the story didn't stop there. The 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia coins carry no mint mark, while those made in Denver have a D below the date, and the San Francisco coins have an S. These tiny marks can have a big impact on a coin's value. They tell us where the coin was made, how many were minted, and, sometimes, how rare a specific version might be. Millions of 1945 pennies were produced. They were used in everyday life, changing hands at grocery stores, movie theaters, and train stations. For most people, it was just a penny, nothing more than the cost of a stick of gum or a candy bar. As a result, many of them are heavily worn today, scratched, dull, and discolored from years of use. But here's the twist: a very small number of these 1945 pennies managed to survive the decades without ever being used. They were pulled from circulation early, rolled up and stored away, or held by collectors who recognized their potential. These coins, in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially those with sharp detail and original red luster, are in a league of their own. Now let's talk about what makes certain versions of this penny so desirable. Aside from condition and mint mark, there's the possibility of minting errors, accidents at the mint that result in something unusual. A double die, where the design is struck twice slightly off from the original, can create a bold, eye-catching effect. Off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and even wrong metal planchets all add layers of rarity and intrigue. And when a coin is both rare and visually striking, collectors will stop at nothing to add it to their collections. These aren't just pieces of copper. These are artifacts. They're tiny historical documents that tell stories of war, peace, resilience, and craftsmanship. And to truly understand their value, they must be professionally graded. Services like PCGS or NGC use a 70-point scale to assess a coin's quality. The closer a coin is to a perfect 70, the higher its market value, especially if it maintains its original color and sharpness. So what happens when all the stars align? When you find a 1945 wheat penny with a mint mark, in nearly perfect condition, untouched by circulation, and maybe even with a rare error, that's when something incredible happens. There was one such coin, carefully preserved, beautifully struck, and nearly flawless. When it went to auction, it didn't just make headlines, it made history. Collectors from across the globe vied for the chance to own a piece of wartime America in its purest form, and in the end, that one small penny, minted in 1945 and marked by history, sold for an astonishing $133,500. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1-cent coin. Worth $133,500. So, the next time you're sifting through an old coin jar, or helping a family member sort through a forgotten collection, don't ignore the pennies. Look at the date. Check for a mint mark. Examine the condition. Because what you think is just pocket change, might just change your life. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey through time and treasure, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more stories of rare coins, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss a single discovery. Until next time, keep collecting, keep dreaming, and never underestimate the power of a penny.